Hi, welcome back to Why Nots and Just the Tips. I'm Caleb from Timpson, and on the last video of grounding and bonding, I got a lot of requests for visuals. So what I've done is I set up a dirt box here, and this dirt box is just simply 3 poles, some conductors. On the middle conductor, I have an open point, have a little transformer to make some current on the neutral. There's an underground here that I've made from, TV cable, and then these down grounds just simply go down and coil up around the pole, and then I'm using dirt to carry some of that return current back here to the neutral. I'm using a variac, and I'm going to pump about 35 volts through this, and we're going to put some grounds on with some light bulbs and see what happens. So on the first test, I get asked this question all the time: does it matter if you're on the line or load side of your ground? And we're going to do this test. So I got a ground set up here, and there are no gimmicks with this. This is a real piece of copper. I got a little light bulb, and I'm just going to go ahead and turn this on and pump some voltage through it, see what happens. All right, so I got that light bulb to come on full brightness. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start dragging this, sliding it on the line closer and closer to that ground, and we'll see what happens as we get closer to it. And you see it's already getting dimmer. And the closer I get to that ground, the dimmer that light gets, until I get right up on it and it goes all the way out. Now, if I crank that up high enough, I can still get that light bulb to come on just slightly. And that's telling you that no matter how good your ground is, there will always be a resistance. There will always be a voltage drop. This ground is not perfect. None of this will ever be perfect. All right, so now on the next test, I have the ground on the line side and the light bulb on the load side. And I want you to pay close attention to this area here so you can see just how effective this ground is. And then we're going to take a look at this light bulb. All right, so I cranked the voltage up. You can still see that light on. And now look over here. Those wires are glowing red hot, light bulb still on. So I hope that both of those demonstrations show you that the light was brighter when the ground was on the load side, right? But when you put the ground on the line side, the light's less bright, and you can see these wires heating up. I had to pump much more voltage through there to get that light to even come on in the first place. And the ground, again, does not stop the flow of electricity. It doesn't stop the flow of current, voltage, or anything. All it does is make that breaker operate as quickly as possible, but it's not going to save your life. So on this next scenario, we're going to talk about working between grounds. And what I got set up here is I am going to energize this one leg, and I have a transformer put online here to put a little current on the neutral, because remember, we are bonding to a current carrying conductor. And in a loop feed, it's always going to carry current whether we have the primary de-energized or not. I realized that we would never energize one phase in a 3-phase circuit, but we're going to pretend like this is a spur line. And you see here I have 2 grounds, have my light bulb in between, and we have an open point. Now let's just say that this is a burnt tap and you need to get up there and fix it. Now in the high current on a neutral, this could happen. And you see that this is completely isolated on each side. The only connection we have here is through that neutral. Now, if I crank this up, you see that light bulb comes on. And that light bulb comes on because some of the current is taking this path, some of the current's taking the down grounds, and some of the current is taking this path through the worker and back down. And then you get circulating currents inside that loop. The correct way to do that is always to put a bond on. If I put this bond on here, that light bulb goes out. If I take the bond off, the light bulb comes on. And it's worth saying that sometimes grounding improperly is more dangerous than not grounding at all. And I'm not suggesting you don't ground, but if I remove one of these, that light goes out. The only reason we get that circulating current is because we're working between these grounds on this false assumption that if I put a ground here and a ground here, it makes a magical dam where voltage and current stop flowing. So on this one, we're going to talk about step and touch potential, and really just touch potential, because I'm pumping such a low voltage through here that it would be hard to get step potential through it. So if you see, I have a ground here, and that ground is bonded down to this guy wire. And, you know, sometimes if we don't have an adequate neutral, you know, some of us like to bond to a guy wire and anchor rod. So if I crank this voltage up, and let's just say there's induction, some heavy induction, we're in a transmission right of way or something, you can see if I take this end that's attached to this guy wire and touch it, that I can get that light bulb to come on at different brightnesses depending on where I put it. And as I get closer to this down ground, of course, it's going to get brighter and brighter. So this demonstrates how well this dirt box works in showing the flow of current. And when we look at our earth is very nonlinear, it's very unpredictable. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're going to bond to an anchor rod or a guy wire, we really should have some barricades up around that to stop people from walking near it. So that'll do it today for this demonstration. And if you have any more comments or questions or want to see any more visuals, let me know in the comments and we will try to make it happen. Thank you.